What if I told you that he who remains, the mastermind behind the TVA in Loki Season 1, never actually died? What if his so-called death was just a chess move in a grander plan, and he's been orchestrating everything from the shadows? And here's the real kicker. What if he who remains isn't the ultimate villain, but ends up joining forces with none other than Dr. Doom in Avengers Secret Wars? Why would a Kang variant team up with Marvel's most iconic villain? How could this reshape the multiverse saga? And could he who remains be the only one capable of saving the multiverse from total collapse? Today, we're diving deep into a mind-bending theory that ties together Loki, Quantumania, Fantastic Four, and Secret Wars. Let's unravel this cosmic puzzle. Let's start at the beginning. Loki Season 1, the moment that changed the MCU forever. Sylvie plunges her blade into He Who Remains, and just like that, the multiverse spirals into chaos with infinite Kang variants unleashed. But something about that scene feels off. Did you notice how calm He Who Remains was? He's sitting there smirking, sipping his tea, and right before the blade hits, he says, "See you soon." See you soon? Why would someone so paranoid about his own variants, so obsessed with controlling the sacred timeline, be so chill about getting stabbed? Unless he wasn't actually dying. What if that death was a fake-out, a carefully staged illusion to kickstart the next phase of his plan? He Who Remains isn't just some guy. He's a genius who built the TVA, a bureaucracy that prunes entire timelines before they can even branch. This dude mastered time itself, outsmarted every other Kang variant, and carved out the sacred timeline like a sculptor. He says he knows everything up until the moment Sylvie hesitates, when they cross the threshold. But does that mean he's suddenly clueless? Or does it mean his plan is so airtight that he doesn't need to see the future anymore? What if he already saw Sylvie's betrayal coming and chose to let it happen? What if the He Who Remains we saw die wasn't even the real deal but a decoy, an avatar, or a variant he swapped in at the last second? Let's not forget what we've seen from Kang variants already. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, we learn Kangs can create robot duplicates and operate across multiple timelines simultaneously. The Council of Kangs in the post-credits scene shows they're not just individuals. They're a network of variants with tech that makes Tony Stark's Iron Man suits look like toys. Holograms, time loops, multiversal travel? That's child's play for a Kang? If He Who Remains wanted to fake his death, he could have uploaded his consciousness to a hidden server, swapped bodies with a lesser variant, or even projected a holographic double. The point is, his death feels too convenient, too theatrical. I'm betting he's still out there watching the multiverse burn exactly as he planned. Now let's talk about Quantumania and what it tells us about the bigger picture. In that movie, we meet another Kang variant, one so dangerous that even the Council of Kangs exiled him to the quantum realm. The whole film screams that a massive Kang war is coming, with variants battling for multiversal domination. But what if the Kang war is a distraction? What if it's a smokescreen designed to keep every Kang variant so busy fighting each other that they don't notice the one variant who's already won? He Who Remains could be sitting back, letting his variants duke it out while he prepares for his real endgame, an alliance with Victor Von Doom. Dr. Doom hasn't stepped into the MCU yet, but his arrival is imminent. Most fans expect him to debut in Fantastic Four, set to release in 2025, and play a major role in Avengers Secret Wars. But what if his introduction is even more explosive than we think? In the Secret Wars comics, Doom becomes God Emperor Doom, ruling Battleworld, a patchwork planet stitched together from the scraps of destroyed universes. To pull that off, he steals power from the Beyonders, cosmic entities who could wipe out entire realities. The MCU hasn't introduced the Beyonders, so what if the power source is different? What if it's He Who Remains who hands Doom the keys to godhood? Picture this. He Who Remains, still alive, approaches Doom with a deal. Help me stabilize the multiverse and I'll give you the power to rule it. Doom, being the arrogant genius he is, sees an opportunity. He agrees, but you know Doom, he's always got his own agenda. This partnership could be the spark that ignites Secret Wars. The multiverse is already falling apart. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness introduced incursions, where timelines crash into each other, annihilating entire realities. If this keeps up, only a handful of universes will survive. In the comics, this chaos births Battleworld, a single world made from the remnants of countless timelines. What if He Who Remains and Doom team up to create the MCU's version of Battleworld, not to destroy reality but to save it? Here's how it could play out. The multiverse is in freefall. Kang variants are waging war, tearing reality apart. The Council of Kangs, arrogant as they are, gets wiped out in the chaos. And then He Who Remains steps out of the shadows, revealing he's been alive this whole time. But instead of rebuilding the TVA or fighting his variants, he joins forces with Doom, who's discovered a way to fuse timelines into a single, stable world. Together they forge Battleworld, a last-ditch effort to preserve what's left of existence. It's a desperate plan, but it's not altruistic. Both of them want control, and that's where things get messy. Dr. Doom doesn't share power. In the comics, he betrays everyone, heroes, villains, even his closest allies, to rule as a god. He absorbs cosmic energies, rewrites reality, and enforces an iron-fisted regime. If He Who Remains thinks he can control Doom, he's in for a rude awakening. This sets up the ultimate twist. Doom uses the power He Who Remains gives him to seize Battleworld for himself. Suddenly, Kang isn't the big bad anymore. It's Doom, the man who outsmarted the Master of Time. He Who Remains, for all his planning, becomes a pawn in Doom's game, and the multiverse hangs in the balance. So where do the Avengers fit into this? By the time Secret Wars rolls around, we're expecting a new Avengers team to assemble. Think Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, maybe some Fantastic Four members like Reed Richards, and possibly even mutants like Wolverine or Storm. Their mission is clear: stop the multiverse from collapsing, defeat Doom, and confront the puppet master who set this all in motion. Avengers Doomsday, rumored to be the lead-in to Secret Wars, could be the moment where our heroes face a war with no rules, no TVA to back them up, and two cosmic threats: Doom, who's now a god, and He Who Remains, the Kang variant who started it all. But let's dig deeper. Are He Who Remains and Doom truly allies, or are they playing a dangerous game of cat and mouse? Imagine a story where they work together to build Battleworld, each believing they can outsmart the other. He Who Remains thinks he's manipulating Doom to restore order, while Doom is secretly plotting to steal Kang's tech and rule alone. Their partnership crumbles in a final, earth-shattering showdown for control of reality. The Avengers, caught in the crossfire, aren't just fighting to save the world, they're fighting to decide which world gets to exist. This theory raises some wild questions. Was He Who Remains ever really gone, or was he playing the longest con in MCU history? Could Dr. Doom become the most dangerous force in the multiverse, not by brute force, but by outsmarting the original Kang? And is Secret Wars less about heroes versus villains and more about a clash between gods? Let's break it down further and explore how this could tie into the broader multiverse saga. First, let's revisit He Who Remains' motivations. In Loki, he claims he created the TVA to prevent a multiversal war that would destroy everything. He paints himself as a necessary evil, sacrificing free will to maintain order. But what if his death wasn't a sacrifice but a calculated risk? By letting Sylvie kill him, he unleashed the multiverse, knowing it would lead to chaos he could later exploit. Maybe he wanted the Kang War to happen, to thin out his variants and clear the board for his return. It's classic Kang, sacrifice a few pawns to win the game. Now consider Doom's role. In the comics, Victor Von Doom is a scientist, sorcerer, and strategist who rivals Reed Richards in intellect and surpasses him in ambition. He's not just a villain, he's a visionary who believes he's the only one capable of saving the world. If He Who Remains offers him the chance to rule Battleworld, Doom would see it as his destiny. But Doom's ego is his downfall. He'd never settle for being Kang's partner, he'd want to be the sole ruler. This tension could drive the narrative of Secret Wars, with Doom and He Who Remains as uneasy allies turned bitter enemies. The multiverse itself is the real stakes here. Incursions are tearing realities apart, and someone needs to step in before it's too late. He Who Remains, with his TVA tech, and Doom, with his scientific and mystical powers, might be the only ones with the tools to stop the collapse. But their solution, Battleworld, comes at a cost. It's not a utopia, it's a Frankenstein's monster of a world, stitched together from dying universes. The Avengers, representing free will and heroism, would reject this authoritarian fix, setting up a moral conflict at the heart of the story. Let's talk about the Fantastic Four for a second. Their introduction in 2025 is perfectly timed to set up Doom's rise. Reed Richards, Doom's eternal rival, could be the key to stopping him. Imagine Reed discovering Doom's alliance with He Who Remains and rallying the Avengers to take them down. The Fantastic Four could bridge the gap between the street-level heroes like Spider-Man and the cosmic players like Doctor Strange, uniting the MCU's fractured roster against a common threat. And what about Loki? He's still out there sitting on the throne at the end of time, watching the multiverse unravel. Could he be the wild card in this story? Maybe Loki discovers He Who Remains is alive and teams up with the Avengers to stop him. Or maybe he's got his own plan, using his new godlike powers to reshape reality in his image. Either way, Loki's arc is deeply tied to Kang, and it's hard to imagine Secret Wars without him playing a pivotal role. Let's zoom out and look at the multiverse saga as a whole. Phase 4 and 5 have been building to this moment, introducing concepts like the multiverse, incursions, and the TVA. Quantumania set up the Kang threat, but it also hinted at something bigger, a war that could redefine reality itself. Secret Wars is the culmination of all these threads, and a He Who Remains Doom alliance would be the perfect way to tie them together. It's not just about one villain. It's about two masterminds whose plans collide, forcing the heroes to confront the very nature of existence. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Why would He Who Remains team up with Doom in the first place? On the surface, they're opposites. Kang is a time-traveling conqueror who thrives on control, while Doom is a monarch who blends science and magic to dominate. But they share a common trait: arrogance. Both believe they're the only ones capable of saving the universe. He Who Remains might see Doom as a tool to rebuild the multiverse, while Doom sees Kang as a stepping stone to godhood. It's a partnership of convenience destined to implode. The betrayal is where things get juicy. In the comics, Doom's rise to power in Secret Wars is marked by his willingness to stab everyone in the back. If he betrays He Who Remains, it could mirror that moment, cementing Doom as the MCU's ultimate villain. But what if He Who Remains anticipates this? What if he's playing Doom, using him to consolidate power before pulling the rug out? This double cross could be the climax of Secret Wars, with the Avengers exploiting their rivalry to save the day. Let's not ignore the fans' perspective. The MCU has been criticized for feeling directionless since Endgame, with Phase 4 and 5 juggling too many characters and concepts. A He Who Remains, Doom storyline could be the glue that holds the multiverse saga together, giving fans a clear, epic conflict to rally behind. It's not just another Thanos-level threat, it's a battle of ideologies, control versus chaos, order versus freedom. The stakes couldn't be higher. So how does this all come together in Secret Wars? Picture the final act. Battleworld is formed, a chaotic world ruled by Doom, with He Who Remains as his shadowy advisor. The Avengers, battered but united, launch a desperate assault to take them down. Reed Richards confronts Doom, his old friend turned tyrant, while Doctor Strange battles Kang's time-twisting tech. Spider-Man and Captain Marvel lead the ground forces, fighting to protect the last remnants of their universe. And in the background, Loki weaves his own scheme, perhaps tipping the scales at the last moment. The final twist? He Who Remains might not be the villain we thought. What if in his own twisted way he's trying to save the multiverse? Maybe he let Sylvie kill him to expose the flaws in his system, to force the multiverse to evolve. Maybe his alliance with Doom is a necessary evil, a way to consolidate power before handing it over to someone else, someone like Loki, or even Reed Richards. It's a long shot, but it would reframe He Who Remains as a tragic figure, not a conqueror. Here's another angle to consider: the role of the TVA. If He Who Remains is alive, what does that mean for the organization he built? In Loki Season 2, the TVA is evolving, moving away from pruning timelines to managing the multiverse's growth. Could He Who Remains return to reclaim his creation, or has he moved beyond it? Maybe he sees Battleworld as the new TVA, a more permanent solution to the multiverse's instability. This could set up a conflict between the TVA's new leaders, like Mobius and B-15, and their old master. Let's talk about the visuals for a second. Battleworld in the comics is a wild patchwork planet, with realms from different universes clashing. Think Asgard, next to a dystopian New York, next to a prehistoric jungle. The MCU could go all out with this, showing us a world where timelines bleed into each other, creating surreal landscapes and impossible battles. Imagine Spider-Man swinging through a city where gravity shifts every few seconds, or Doctor Strange casting spells in a realm where time flows backward. He Who Remains and Doom would be the architects of this madness, their tech and magic holding it all together. The emotional core of the story lies with the heroes. The Avengers aren't just fighting for survival, they're fighting for the right to exist. Every universe is at stake, including their own. Characters like Peter Parker, who's already lost so much, would have to confront the possibility of losing his entire reality. Reed Richards would face his greatest failure in Doom's rise. And Loki, forever caught between hero and villain, would have to decide where his loyalties lie. It's a story about sacrifice, redemption, and the cost of power. Let's circle back to He Who Remains' death scene one more time. That moment in Loki Season 1 is the linchpin of this theory. Every detail, the smirk, the cryptic lines, the lack of resistance, screams that he's not done. Compare it to other Kang variants. The Kang in Quantumania fights tooth and nail to escape the quantum realm. The Council of Kangs is plotting multiversal domination. But He Who Remains, he just sits there like he's already won. That's not the behavior of a man facing death. That's the behavior of a man who's 3 steps ahead. Now let's address a potential counter-argument. Some fans might say He Who Remains' death was real because the multiverse did spiral out of control. If he was so smart, why let things get this bad? But that assumes chaos wasn't part of his plan. He Who Remains thrives on control, but he's also a scientist. Scientists experiment. What if this multiversal chaos is his experiment, a way to test the limits of reality? By letting the multiverse fracture, he could be gathering data, preparing for his ultimate move. Doom, with his own scientific mind, would be the perfect partner in this cosmic lab. Another counter-argument: why would Doom need He Who Remains? Doom's powerful enough on his own with his intellect, magic, and tech. But the multiverse is a problem on a scale even Doom can't tackle alone. He Who Remains has the TVA's knowledge, the ability to manipulate time, and a map of every timeline's weak points. For Doom, that's an invaluable resource. He'd ally with Kang not out of weakness, but out of pragmatism, knowing he can betray him later. Let's wrap this up with a look at the bigger implications. If this theory holds, Secret Wars could redefine the MCU. It would give us a villain duo unlike anything we've seen: He Who Remains, the time-traveling schemer, and Doom, the God King of Battleworld. It would unite the MCU's heroes in a way we haven't seen since Endgame, forcing them to confront not just external threats, but the moral questions of what makes a universe worth saving. And it would set the stage for Phase 6 and beyond, with a multiverse that's forever changed. So what do you think? Did He Who Remains fake his death, or is he really gone? Will Dr. Doom rule Battleworld, or will he fall to his own hubris? And what role will the Avengers, Fantastic Four, or even Loki play in this cosmic showdown? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your craziest theories. If you loved this deep dive into the MCU's multiversal madness, smash that like button, subscribe for more Marvel content, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next video. Until then, keep your timeline stable, and I'll catch you in the next one.